Welcome everyone to our channel, the first one about cryptocurrencies. Today we have an interesting video in which we'll show you the real data-based effectiveness of our zone, Training Zone Pro. As I said, for several days now, I've been posting updates showing how close we are to demonstrating the effectiveness of our tool. In this video, I'll try to give you a brief overview here. On the 4-hour charts, we analyze the period since launch because, as I said, our main goal is complete transparency and we want to have a tool that works under real market conditions. What's the point of having a tool that's simply ineffective? So I think the best way to verify something like this is to show the effectiveness of the tool, how it has performed recently. So now let's analyze the period from January 31st, from 1 a.m. until February 15th at 1 a.m. So in short, from the launch until the day before yesterday. We're recording this video on February 17th at 10 a.m., so all the data presented in this video is real and relevant to the current market situation. So, in short, we are very proud to share with you that our tool has achieved, on the 4-hour time frames, a 65% effectiveness rate. You can see it here in this post. If you expand this post and go to GitHub, we've made all the tools available. In this video, I'll show you how it was all calculated and where this effectiveness rate comes from. As for the daily time frame, we had only one bad trade, and for the hourly time frame, there was a 51% success rate on the hourly trades. So, in short, here's how it went, how the test was conducted. And now, everything I'm about to show you, you already had at your fingertips. All you had to do was purchase access to our tool here. Analyze it, and honestly, to put it bluntly, you practically didn't have to do anything. Like I said, in our trading zone area, it's not meant for opening positions or guiding you through your trades positions. This is exactly the tool where, so to speak, you have everything gathered in one place, which will make it easier for you to navigate this tough market. So now if we click to analyze the 4-hour chart, at this moment, according to our proprietary algorithm, we currently have a neutral trend, so we are waiting to open a position. If you go to the chart, we can draw a channel, which means right now we do everything with a single click. Everything is completely automated, so with one click you have the channel drawn. At this moment, we are in the middle of this channel. Below the chart, you have indicators that are currently being drawn. Each time, I'll show you how it works. So what happens when we click? Analyze. All the indicators are analyzed in real time. And they are simply calculated and appear in this way. So right now, we are at 44% of the channel. We don't open any positions up or down if we're in the middle of this channel. Of course, right now, we're talking about the 4-hour interval. So if we have a short trend here, we obviously play from the upper band down. If it's a long trend, we play from the lower band up. So in short, that's more or less how it looks. And our tool has a great feature, which is that we can go back to historical data. So for example, we can pick a date. The candlestick has to be highlighted here, and we have a range of the last 500 candles. So for instance, I do not know, we can go back to February 12th or February 10th at 1 o'clock a.m. When it comes to 4-hour candles, it's the 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, and so on. We can analyze the chart ourselves, see what parameters were present at that time. Back then, we still had a neutral chart here, and we were at the upper band. We have something like this, a functionality called Market Echo, which shows how the chart or price behaved when a similar market situation occurred. So we analyzed over 11 indicators, including several proprietary ones. So if we had a situation like the one we just went back to historically, meaning February 10th or January 1st, in this kind of situation, 25% of the time the price went up and 75% of the time it went down. We can draw the chart ourselves and see how it behaved. So as you can see from this point, the chart went down to the lower band. Here's the upper band, and we're in this kind of channel. So in short, that's how our tool works. It's meant to be your assistant, your command center, so to speak, where you have everything at your fingertips, and everything is presented as clearly as possible, both for advanced traders and for beginners. But we also have a feature, a very interesting feature. As you'll notice in the middle part of the trade panel, we have something like this. The entry is our current position, meaning the current price on the last closed candle. So if we're analyzing something, this also... So has this candle closed? Drawing it out, that's 69,511, and that's our price. Entry. So we also suggest, based on our algorithms, meaning this is the entry position, where you should set your stop loss and where you should set your take profit. So that's one part, and in this way, very simply and very accurately, we can measure the effectiveness of our tool. Like I mentioned before, we place a significant amount of emphasis on the educational aspect of our program, which is simply to educate you further, to help you completely eliminate your emotions from this volatile market. And thanks to that approach, we want you to try to so that you simply become better and better traders. Because in our opinion, the biggest enemy of a trader is themselves. That is greed, avarice. So if various kinds of emotions like FOMO, some kind of, I don't know, maybe I'd call it desperate impatience. So if we can turn off those emotions, I think each of us will simply become a better trader. And as I said, our goal is for this to be useful both for beginner traders and also for advanced ones. So if you expand it somewhere there, you can read in detail about the parameters of each section that appears at the bottom, what it actually is, what it means, what it does. We also have a compendium in the guidebook. You can read and analyze everything there. Alright, so that's it for the introduction. Now, of course, everything is available. We operate on a subscription basis. So right now, as part of a promotion, we have 25 coupons for all packages. So basically, at this moment, you can buy it for half the price with this coupon. We still have about 11 coupons left, so of course it's first come, first served. This is a one-time action. Later on, it will be done differently. So simply put, whoever gets it first gets the better deal. Alright, so with that brief introduction out of the way, now let's talk about where these values come from and how to verify them. So now, how did we measure this effectiveness and how did we manage to achieve it? 65% in the period from January 31st to February 15th. So regarding the fours, we did something like this. We went back in time with the date, for example, starting from February 31st. Well, January 31st. So let's take February 3rd, the 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock analysis as well. We wait for the chart to be drawn. And now here's how it went. We opened a position at the entry point. Here was our stop loss and here was our take profit. Then at 5 o'clock, again, entry, stop loss, take profit, and so on. 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, the same on the 1 minute chart, the same on the hourly chart. All the data we managed to collect this way. We added them to our files. So for example, I opened the daily chart, and if the position was profitable, meaning our entry price, like I said, January 31st, let's go back to January 31st. 1 o'clock. We assumed that we open all candles on the daily chart starting from 1 o'clock, and then so on. Everything step by step, so the range is from January 31st to February 15th at 1 o'clock. If we get such alerts like you saw here in the corner, meaning if any indicator drastically changes its stance, so we suggest that magnet flip it turns bullish, right? For example, in this situation. Alright, so here's what we do. Our trend shows short, so we take short positions, entry, stop loss, take profit. You have all the data in the file. So, for example, we would open a position, set the direction, stop loss, and take profit. And now, if the first position reached take profit, we considered it profitable. If the first one hit the stop loss, we considered it a loss. If the position is still open, it has a status of G. That's what a one-day trade looks like. I'll show you this in the percentage summary in a moment. This is what the fours looked like. Meaning we enter at 1 o'clock. Price 8.4, then short. Stop loss 86,792. If the position is profitable, it's marked as Z. If we got stopped out, meaning the first take profit, we have Z. If the first stop loss hits, we have S. So that's how we define profitable and losing positions. You had all of this at your fingertips. All of this was automated for you. These are simply data copied from our tool, which has been tested under real market conditions. So all you had to do, as I said, for example, now we're on Bitcoin. We're running the fours at the moment, which means the trend is neutral. If it was neutral, we simply didn't open any positions. We waited for example, if we find a neutral trend somewhere here, then we simply didn't open any positions. So right now we have a neutral trend, and of course we can wait. And in this way, we analyzed over 550 trades. We set all the parameters, entry, stop loss, and take profit, and thanks to that, we were able to define the real effectiveness of our tool. As I said, our debut was on January 31st, and we're still here. Of course, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. The first one about cryptocurrencies, and of course also the YouTube channel where you're watching this video, is also the first about cryptocurrencies. So we've been posting here all the time. Posts, how it looks, what our trend is, how our tool actually behaves in real market conditions. And I really must emphasize to you today that for a debut performance, and considering this represents just 2 short weeks of work, we are all exceptionally pleased and thoroughly satisfied with the results. Now, I'd like you to carefully analyze this data alongside the various marketing channels you are currently dealing with. And tell me honestly, has any single one of them ever achieved such a high level of effectiveness in such a brief time frame under these actual competitive real-world market conditions? Of course, no jabs intended, but as I said, we are very proud. We are very proud that the work we put in, that we really analyzed those positions, truly thousands before, to create this entire zone, the trading zone, to build the entire trade panel. It was as user-friendly, as clear, and as helpful as possible in these tough market conditions, and we are proud that we managed to achieve all that we worked so hard for. It simply brings real and tangible results. So, each and every one of you who had direct access to this powerful tool, each of you could, at this very moment, carry out these actions right now. As for the fours, incredibly, you could carry out a total of 92 different strategic plays, characterized by an impressive 65% effectiveness rate during that specific period. You had all of this information readily available right there at your fingertips. All you really had to do was simply take a moment to log into the system. Have access to this zone, purchase it, and just let yourself play it out. Of course, our tool is not meant for placing bets somewhere. Positions. We focus more on the educational value, although we do not overlook this very important fact. After all, how else can you measure the effectiveness of the tool in real market conditions, other than by checking whether what it suggests is actually true, whether what it suggests has any real-world reflection in the real market. So now we can proudly say that after 2 weeks of working with our tool, we have results on daily time frames. 83% effectiveness, only one bad position. On 4-hour time frames, 65% effectiveness. On hourly time frames, 51%. Of course, there are a lot of changes there. A lot. It's very difficult. We will try in the near future to maybe modify it slightly so that, of course, the confidence indicator also works in long-term trends, and the confidence indicator also works in short-term trends. We have to balance all of this somehow, but for just 2 weeks of work, I think the result is outstanding, and all of this is already available to you now. Any of you, all you need to do is buy a subscription, and you have access to this tool, what I'm showing you here right now. Alright, so that's enough of an introduction so as not to brag too much, although I do think there's something to be proud of. We are extremely proud of our tool. We will present it at the fair in which will be at CCC. You'll be able to come up to us. We also have a presentation there about our second product, which is also the anti-scam project, where we analyze the entire Ethereum blockchain, where we try to provide protection, to protect you from scams. So now we have this kind of suite. We have something for long-term investors and we have something for short-term investors. I think that with us, you are better protected in this market. Alright, so that's it for the introduction. All the files that I'm going to show you here that I'm showing in this video, so the daily, the hourly charts, and the 4-hour chart, if you go in here, you can go to our post on GitHub, download these files, and analyze them yourself. So you can see that all of this actually happened, it all took place, and it has already occurred. That's how we tested our tools in real market conditions, and that's how we achieved a 65% success rate. Of course, these percentages can still change because some positions are still open, so we'll see. They could still go up or they could still go down. That's it. I'll show you this in a moment. So anyway, you can download all these files yourself and see what parameters we had. That is, the date, the direction, the entry price, where the stop loss was, and where the take profit was. Everything is based on real market data, the ones our tool suggested here in the trade panel. All we had to do was simply copy it over. Everything was within our market reach. Alright, now very quickly, what did we add? We added something called divergence. So if we detect a divergence, you will receive a notification. We also added something like, well, of course, now maybe. Let's now move on to real market data. So this video doesn't get too long because mainly I wanted to show you that yes, we did it, to show you that yes, we achieved it, and to brag a little, right? Well, yes, I'll say it, to brag a bit. I think that finally these 1.5 years of work have, so to speak, paid off here. When we were able to deliver you a product that, thank you. In my opinion, it has outstanding parameters when it comes to effectiveness. I'm curious about your opinions. Let us know in the comments what you think about this, what you think about the whole trading zone area, about us, about our tool. That's everything. We've also added 2 more upgrades, namely the timeline. Right now, everyone is asking themselves whether this downtrend is ending or not. What if we take a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart? Right. We're also analyzing effectiveness on other altcoins, but due to the amount of work we have related to these fairs, we'll also present such effectiveness for XRP, how it played out during that period on Ethereum, on Solana, so we'll see. We want to be completely transparent, so if we tell you that we managed to achieve something, it's not just talk, because we just made it up out of thin air. Oh, and one more thing, we also assumed, so to speak, I don't know, it's hard to call it a simplification, but we assume on the daily candle at 1 o'clock AM, the first hour of the night. Of course, these are our automatic default settings. We didn't change anything here because we wanted these tools to work brilliantly on the default settings, and from there it will only get better. So for example, I'll show you where that bad trade happened on the daily candle. So if we switch here to the daily chart, this is our only bad trade. This is February 5th. All trades are on closed candles, of course. Closed candles. So now let's go back to that situation, meaning February 5th at 1 o'clock. The analyses are already underway. At that time, we had a huge drop. If we zoom in on this chart, here we have oversold, flipper bullish, and a volume spike. High volume on this drop. And now, of course, since we decided that we open positions on closed candles, so here we also opened a short position, just so that the data would be automated. These are the default settings. Of course, if someone saw a candle like that, we wouldn't open a short position here, but we also wanted to test it in such a way that it's good to have this tool backing you up, right? So if we're considering something like a position here, it's good to have it aligned with what actually happened, right? So that's the only reason here, since we were opening on closed candles. We also had to open this position here so that the data would be real and transparent. Obviously, if we were trading here and had such signals, we would draw the FIBO, maybe a channel here. So if we're at the bottom of the channel, we wouldn't open a short position. So just imagine how much more effective this would be if we simply applied our own knowledge to it, instead of relying only on the default settings. Because what we managed to achieve here was solely and exclusively on the default settings. Now, we are going to add some more data to this specific chart, and as you can clearly see, there was a significant rebound right here. Let's take a closer look to see exactly where we are standing right now. Channel 27%, so we'll see how it develops further. Just imagine if we added our own experience to our automated process. I think those percentages would be much higher, but that wouldn't be appropriate. Our goal isn't to measure it in some skewed way or, I don't know, to inflate the numbers. We just want to have a tool that works in real market conditions. And for just 2 weeks after launch, I think it's working brilliantly. Alright, so now, regarding these new features, we have this divergence. We've also added something like an indicator of when a trend change occurred, because everyone is waiting, obviously. If we launch this tool, we set it to daily, and for 2 weeks we've been in a constant short. Everyone is asking themselves, is this the end? Is this the bottom? We finish and we don't guess, right? If all the indicators, if somewhere the market echo, the market conditions show us that this trend is ending, here we'll switch to short, then we'll switch to long. We just have to wait. If we draw the MA 200 right now, it's still declining. The MA 100 is still declining. We still have room. We still have time for declines. Of course, everyone has different market strategies, but we simply try not to guess. Our main principle is a market without emotions. If you expand it now, show the history, the trend will change. Don't worry, it does change. Of course, it changes most dynamically on the 1-hour chart, on the 4-hour chart, and it will also change on the daily chart. So, the last change from a short trend to neutral happened on January 21st and 27th, and since then, we have been in a downward trend the whole time. If it changes here again, from short to neutral, and then possibly from neutral to long, then we'll consider opening a long position. So for now, let's wait for that. Let's not guess. Let's just let the market play out and analyze it using specific indicators. Of course, it's also the case that... That's how I'd put it, yeah. No one knows. And that's the truth. We're not building that kind of narrative either. No one knows whether the chart will go up or down. If someone is building a narrative based on supposedly being able to predict from here, like, I don't know, you have a golden pocket, you have a range, you have whatever, and now they're telling you that the chart will go up, well, I don't know, everyone should ask themselves if that's really credible information. So how am I supposed to build a narrative if I don't know whether the chart will go up or down? I can simply analyze it. I can give you, we always have a 50% success rate, meaning 50% up, 50% down. We can give you, and with our trading zone, we're already giving you those few extra percentage points. A better chance that your trade will be more successful, simply put. So we don't know if the chart will go up or down, we don't know how everything will behave, but in 2 weeks we'll sum it all up. And unfortunately, that's just how trading works. Trading is simply a matter of probability. When it comes to futures, it's usually just probability. You always have a 50% chance up or down. With our tool, as we've proven, you have a little more than a 50% chance up or down. So, to keep this video from being too long, to sum it up, yes, we did it. We tested our tool on real market data. Everything is available to you on GitHub. You can download it and analyze it yourself. Everything was made available for you. All you had to do was use our tool and simply follow what our trade panel suggests. And that's just an additional feature. Of course, that's not all. We're working on something for you, something like a calculator here for traders, Trader Quad. This calculator will be completely different from anything currently available on the market, because aside from the fact that it is based on all algorithms and all market indicators, it also, a very strong emphasis is placed on psychology. So we will simply tell you that if, for now it's very provisional, very preliminary, so if we analyze something here and run it here, Ethereum. If you want to open a position, we will simply suggest what settings you should use here. So, for example, this kind of position, that kind of position at this point, well, there are also here, these are test servers, so it's possible we might experience some delays here, or something might not work. So here's how it works. If you want to open a position, for example with a balance of $500, and set the risk per trade, 1%, leverage of 20, a position of $8,000, let us tell you that's a no-go, that's pure gambling. So that's what we're working with, because we believe that, unfortunately, the main enemy of a trader is the trader themselves, right? Meaning their greed, their impulsiveness, their lack of a plan, not taking profits, not setting a take profit. Alright, I think that's it. I've shown you how it works, where those percentages come from, that it's not just clickbait, that this is the actual effectiveness of the tool since its launch. Well, I don't know. I'm really excited, really happy. I think we've done a really great job. We're giving it to you. Actually, we've already given it to you, haven't we? So basically, I don't know, it's like 70 a month, you know, you skip one energy drink and you have something behind you, something that will help you become an even better coach, right? Something that will help you turn off those emotions a bit, and thanks to that, maybe we'll be a little better equipped in this tough market. Of course, we're still working on our happy intelligence right now. We're analyzing the results that we've achieved so far. We have about 47 to 48% accuracy. Here is the 15-minute and 5-minute Bitka, which in our opinion are the hardest intervals to predict. If we manage to achieve it here, this is our proprietary happy intelligence. If we manage to achieve it here, if we get results in the range of 50 to 60%, I can tell you that will be fantastic. So please support us. We don't have any sponsors. We're here, so to speak, on our own. We're a small company. The only way we can fund ourselves is simply through subscriptions. So that's also a sign that, I don't know, you support what we're doing, that you see faith in all of this. And the Anti-Scrans project launched a month and a half ago. Cladding Zone launched 2 weeks ago. We've shown you that it works. These are very real and tangible values. So I truly believe that this is rightfully yours. Your continued support and dedication will also translate into truly meaningful and valuable experiences, and will allow you to achieve significant gains and rewards in this market. As I said before, our main goal is to protect you, meaning we aim to take emotions out of your decisions, and substantially improve your overall probability of winning in this very tough and competitive market. So I think that in our trading zone, we've proven that it simply works. So remember, a market without emotions, Training Zone Procom, we're here for you. Best regards, talk to you soon and see you in Watch.